World champion CM Punk battled interim champion Jon Moxley in the biggest match in U Dynamite history. Match card: U Undisputed World Championship match, CM Punk vs Jon Moxley U World Trios Championship Tournament Quarterfinal, Death Triangle, Pac, Penta El Zero Mike Ito and Rey Fenix, vs Will Ospreay and Aussie Open Keelan King vs Dr. Britt Baker DMD Dax Harwood vs Jay Lethal Billy Gunn vs Colton Gunn Daniel Garcia and Chris Jericho face-to-face Ricky Starks promo. Chris Jericho and Daniel Garcia face-to-face. After tension between Chris Jericho and Daniel Garcia reared its head last week, the Jericho Appreciation Society members kicked off Wednesday's show with an in-ring face-to-face. Jericho attempted to get Garcia to apologize for showing him up last week, to which the young star lashed out at his mentor for ruining a special moment between him and his idol, Bryan Danielson. The American Dragon made his way to the ring and the tension intensified, with Garcia refusing to choose between being a professional wrestler and sports entertainer, then shoving Jericho. A verbal exchange between Danielson and Jericho culminated with a challenge for a match between them out on September 4th. This was an interesting opening segment for a few reasons, not the least of which being the fact that Garcia came across as repetitive and trying too hard to convey his uncertainty, to the point that it became distracting. The Jericho-Danielson stuff was fun but also felt forced, an excuse to put two greats together at All Out and bolster what will already be a star-studded show. There is no complaining about that particular match, especially since they have only battled one other time, a match on the original NXT back in 2010. Still, this entire story has felt somewhat rushed in order to bring the pieces together and set up the PPV showdown. While the result may be great, this was merely okay. Dax Harwood vs Jay Lethal. As Ring of Honor, AAA and IWGP Tag Team Champions FTR prepares to team with TNT Champion Wardlow to battle Jay Lethal and two unnamed partners at All Out. Dax Harwood battled Lethal in singles competition. Lethal controlled the pace throughout the commercial break and targeted the left knee of Harwood later. He attempted a lethal injection but the tag champ was too far away. That momentary hesitation allowed Harwood to catch him with a slingshot ledger bomb for a 2 count. Interference from Dutt backfired, failing to earn Lethal the win. Counters and reversals gave way to the underhanded Lethal scoring the tainted victory with a roll-up and handful of types. Harwood does not have bad matches at this point. He is as consistent a wrestler as there is in the sport, be it in tag team or singles competition. With that said, this felt a bit disjointed at times. Both the men appeared to be on different pages at times and that roll-up finish was ugly. If the idea was for Lethal to get the win, why not just go home when Dutt interfered? Things went on a bit longer than they needed to and it hurt the overall quality. The revelation that Lethal will partner with the Motor City Machine Guns of Impact Wrestling is another instance of the business partnerships between the two and should lead to an outstanding match. Hopefully, it opens up the possibility of an FTR-MCMG match down the road. Billy Gunn vs Colton Gunn. A hesitant Billy Gunn, accompanied to the ring by the Acclaimed's Max Caster and Anthony Bowens, battled son Colton in one-on-one action. The second-generation heel and brother, Austin, benefited from interference from Stokely Hathaway, a distraction allowing Colton to score a low blow and defeat his father via pinfall. After the match, Hathaway presented the Gun Club with a business card, then watched as they beat down their father and the Acclaimed. This brought out U World Tag Team Champions Swerve Strickland and Keith Lee for the save. Other than Caster and Bowens, there has not been much to love about any of this storyline for the last month now. Now that it appears Colton and Austin are headed toward a tag team title match with Strickland and Lee and that feels woefully underwhelming for the champions, who won the titles in a great match against top tag team contenders. Not an undercard tandem who has not won nearly enough to even sniff the tag title scene. If the Acclaimed is involved so be it, but even in that case, it is difficult to point to a single match won by Caster and Bowens that suggests they would be worthy contenders at this point. This feels more like something thrown together to give all involved something to do rather than the result of any real storyline. It feels like there is more of that heading into this all-out card, and new as a whole here in 2022, than any other year. Keel and King vs Dr. Britt Baker DMD. Hometown competitor Keelan King, born 30 miles from Dynamite host city Cleveland, attempted to upset rival Pittsburgh's Dr. Britt Baker Wednesday night. The back-and-forth battle saw King impress, as she usually does, before falling short of her goal to defeat the loudmouth, egotistical heel as she succumbed to the lockjaw. After the match, Baker cut a promo on Thunder Rosa and Toni Storm, drawing the latter out. Jamie Hayter attacked from behind and Hikaru Shida made the save. Just like that, you had its 4 competitors for the interim world title on September 4th. Why you suddenly has this infatuation with interim champions is something only Tony Khan knows, but it really would not hurt to have had Rosa just relinquish the title and vote to come back better than ever in an attempt to regain it. As it is, it appears we will crown a new temporary champion to hold down the proverbial fort until Rosa gets back from her undisclosed injury. Result: Baker defeated King via submission. Undisputed World Championship match, CM Punk vs Jon Moxley. Billed as one of the most significant matches in U history, the Undisputed World Championship match between CM Punk and Jon Moxley was a one-sided squash match that created more questions than answers. Punk threw a kick early, apparently re-injuring his foot and leaving him screaming in agony. Moxley took advantage, elbowed the hell out of his opponent and put him down with consecutive Death Riders for the emphatic win. Moxley celebrated, Punk limped off in the arms of referees and best friend Ace Steel, and no one really knew what we had just witnessed. Was this some message directed to the locker room, as if to say Punk is not a selfish, former WWE star who will not put over other stars? Was this a Tony Khan directive, a make good on the controversial promo Punk cut on Hangman Page last week? Maybe. It could also be long-term storytelling that spins the narrative that Punk was unhealthy and if he had been, would have beaten Moxley. And out, if you will. Whatever the case is, the execution was great and had social media buzzing in its wake. If there was one negative, it is that the much-hyped match that this show was built around ended in mere minutes and was hardly the competitive battle most expected out of the competitors. That sort of finish will work this time but must to be utilized intermittently or risk pissing off the hardcore fans who have placed their trust in management to do what is right by them. For now, it was a newsworthy finish that instantly had fans talking about its significance. Result: Moxley defeated Punk to win the Undisputed World title. Trios title tournament match, Death Triangle vs Will Ospreay and Aussie Open. Title tournament match, Death Triangle vs Will Ospreay and Aussie Open in what amounted to an international dream match. Death Triangle's All-Atlantic Champion Pac, Rey Fenix and Penta El Zero Miedo battled IWGP United States Heavyweight Champion Will Ospreay and Aussie Open, Kyle Fletcher and Mark Davis, in quarterfinals action of the World Trios Championship Tournament. Death Triangle, controlled early, wearing down Ospreay as the announce team questioned if the Brit had spread himself too thin over the last month by accepting 18 different matches during that time. Fletcher and Davis worked together to attack Fenix while Ospreay wiped out Panda and Pac to help the heels seize the upper hand. A hot tag to Pac sparked a late comeback, culminating with a beautiful double poison, ran a spot that cleared the ring and let the Bastard and Ospreay square off against each other. Ospreay delivered the Oscutter and Pac answered moments later with an avalanche brainbuster. Lucha Brothers wiped out Fletcher and Davis at ringside but Ospreay got the knees up, countering the Black Arrow. Pac recovered and delivered a picture-perfect moonsault from the ring post, then allowed himself to be distracted by someone he thought was Kip Sabian, only to be attacked from behind by the box-wearing Enigma. With Pac down and Penta cleared to the mat, the heel trio brutalized Fenix and finished him off with an assisted Oscutter. This was every bit the athletic spectacle one would expect given the talent involved. It was non-stop action and featured some of the most awe-inspiring offenses synonymous with them. Pac and Austria, in particular, had strong chemistry that helped form the foundation for the match. It was a mostly unpredictable match because either trio could have won, but the game plan, based on Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks' appearance as the show went off the air, has likely always been to get Omega and Austria in the same ring for the same match. That is a dream match of sorts that will spark discussion and buzz among diehard fans across social media, but the fact that it is only the semi-final round match does neuter it ever so slightly. Sabian returning and laying out Pac also sets up an All-Atlantic Championship defense by the Bastard as the pay-per-view, his first on American soil since winning the title. It should be damn good and an interesting reintroduction to Sabian, if nothing else. Result: Ospreay and